Hey there, Spartans. It's Miss Slattery. Happy Friday. So I have a really special pick for you today. It was first introduced to me when Mrs. Brunetti was doing the LMC, like our reading and the reading groups and discussion groups when we were still in school. And we didn't get to finish it. So like coronavirus came, shut everything down, and we were halfway, the reading groups were halfway through this book. But I finished it on my own, loved it, and I wanted to share it with you today. So this book it's called The 57 Bus, and it's by Dashka Slater. And you can see just from the cover that it's won a couple of awards, right? So we have this award for young adult literature, and then we have this, it's another Stonewall Book Award winner. So, and when I showed you Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, similar award winner. So I like to look out for the Stonewall Award winners. So this is based on a true story. You can see right here on the cover, it says a true story of the two teenagers and the crime that changed their lives. Um, this one's kind of a hard one to read. It's based around a hate crime that was committed against a high school student named Sasha. Both students' stories are um, tragic in their own way. But I think this one just it hits home a lot harder because it is a true story. So I'm gonna read you the inside flap about like what this one's about, and then I will read you the back where there's like a little synopsis of both of these teenagers. Okay. So let's start with the inside cover. And it says, one teenager in a skirt, one teenager with a lighter, one moment that changes both of their lives forever. If it weren't for the 57 bus, Sasha and Richard never would have met. Both were high school students in Oakland, California, one of the most diverse cities in the country, but they inhabited different worlds. Sasha lived in the middle class foothills and attended a small private school. Richard lived in the economically challenged flatlands and attended a large public one. After school each day, their paths overlapped on the bus for a mere 8 minutes. But one afternoon, a single reckless act left Sasha severely burned and Richard charged with two hate crimes and facing life imprisonment. The case garnered international attention, thrusting both teenagers into the spotlight. But in the 57 bus, author Dashka Slater shows that what might at first seem like a simple matter of right and wrong, justice and injustice, victim and criminal, is something much more complicated and far more heartbreaking. This true story, first chronicled in the New York Times Magazine by Slater and artfully, compassionately, and expertly expanded upon here, is a riveting exploration of race, class, gender, identity, morality, and forgiveness. Told with honesty and insight gleaned from both teens' lives, the 57 bus will inspire you to rethink all you know about crime, punishment, and empathy. So there's kind of an overview of like where this came from, where the story originated, and then I'm going to go ahead and read the back about the two teenagers before we read what is a really, really short first chapter. Okay? So it says two ends of the same line, two sides of the same crime. Sasha. They tried not to think about the fire or the person who set it, but sometimes it was hard not to wonder why. Not to just feel incredulous that this was the situation. One minute you're on your way home from school, and then it's an ambulance and a hospital and surgery and pain and painkillers and bandages and seated showers. It was just like, how is this a thing that happens? And then Richard. I am not a thug, gangster, hoodlum, nor monster. I'm a young African American male who's made a terrible mistake. Not only did I hurt you, but I hurt your family and friends, and also my family and friends, for I have brought shame to them and our country, and I shall be punished, which is going to be hard for me because I'm not made to be incarcerated. Okay. So again, and you can see like Richard's especially is in quotes. This is coming, out of the story, his words. Okay. Um, presumably he's talking to a you, presumably he's talking to Sasha there, right? So I want to go ahead and open this up. I am going to read, there's a little note from the author that I want to read first. So you can see too, it's divided up into like different parts. There's part one, part two about Richard. There you go. And then part three, the actual fire. So the author's note here, remember this is a true story, so there's some things to keep, to keep in mind as we read. The author's note says, this is a true story. All the people in this book are real, although in some cases pseudonyms or initials were used. Young people are identified by first name only. The details of the story were pieced together from a variety of sources, including interviews, documents, letters, videos, diaries, social media posts, and public records. Quotes from these sources are verbatim, except in a few cases where I removed last names, replacing them with long dashes. Information from firsthand accounts was corroborated with official records wherever possible, unless those records were sealed or are not available to the public. In those cases, I relied on the memory of witnesses and participants. The pronouns and names used for gender nonconforming people were approved by the people in question. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead, the 57 bus, and I'm going to read you just the first chapter. Monday, November 4th, 2013. By 4:30 in the afternoon, the first mad rush of after-school passengers has come and gone. What's left are stragglers and stay-laters, swiping their bus passes as they climb onto the 57 bus and take seats amongst the coming home workers, the shoppers and errand doers, the other students from high schools and middle schools around the city. The bus is loud, but not as loud as sometimes. A few clusters of kids are shouting and laughing, and an older woman at the front keeps talking to the driver. Dark is coming on. Daylight savings ended yesterday, and now evening rushes into the place where afternoon used to be. Everything is duskier, sleepier, wintrier now. Passengers look at their phones or stare through the scratched and grimy windows at the waning light. Sasha sits near the back. For much of the journey, the teenager has been reading a paperback copy of Anna Karenina for a class in Russian literature. Today, like most days, Sasha wears a t-shirt, a black fleece jacket, a gray flat cap, and a gauzy white skirt. A senior at a small private high school, the teenager identifies as agender, neither male nor female. As the bus lumbers through town, Sasha puts down the book and drifts into sleep, skirt draped over the edge of the seat. A few feet away, three teenage boys are laughing and joking. One of them, Richard, wears a black hoodie and an orange-billed New York Knicks hat. A 16-year-old junior at Oakland High School, he's got hazel eyes and a slow, sweet grin. He stands with his back to Sasha, gripping a pole for balance. Sasha sleeps as Richard and his companions goof around, play fighting. Sleeps as Richard's cousin Lloyd bounds up and down the aisle, flirting with a girl up front. Sleeps as Richard surreptitiously flicks a lighter and touches it to the hem of that gauzy white skirt. Wait! In a moment, Sasha will wake inside a ball of flame and begin to scream. In a moment, everything will be set in motion. Taken by ambulance to a San Francisco burn unit, Sasha will spend the next 3.5 weeks undergoing multiple surgeries to treat second and third degree burns running from calf to thigh. Arrested at school the following day, Richard will be charged with 2 felonies, each with a hate crime clause that will add time to his sentence if he is convicted. Citing the severity of the crime, the district attorney will also charge him as an adult, stripping him of the protections normally given to juveniles. Before the week is out, he will be facing the possibility of life imprisonment. But none of that has happened yet. For now, both teenagers are just taking the bus home from school. Surely it's not too late to stop things from going wrong. There must be some way to wake Sasha, divert Richard, get the driver to stop the bus. There must be something you can do. All right. And again, that is kind of the really action-packed, dramatic first chapter of the 57 bus. But it lays out for you right there, like everything that's at stake. These 2 teenagers who I think Slater does an amazing job of painting as like very just normal and in their natural habitat, driving home on the bus from school when this horrific thing happens. Again, just, some trigger warnings. It does get a little bit hard to read at parts because of, the hate crime that has been committed, because of the graphic nature of the violence that's committed against Sasha. And just in general, it's kind of a heart-wrenching story. So keep that in mind. A great story, but sometimes difficult to read. Okay? So thank you so much for tuning in, Spartans. I hope you enjoyed and have a great weekend. Bye-bye, everybody.